So I want to kind of show you guys, this is a dude that I found named Griffin Mind. You know, folks, one thing I've noticed about the evolution of content on the internet is that as time goes on, it seems to get quicker cuts and more brainless. And it really does seem like the time for long-form video essays and such that were like really popular a few years ago, like it seems like that's over with now. Like, no, like, I mean, there's still people who do it and they still are very prominent and, you know, very successful on the internet, of course. But it also seems like you're more likely to see new content creators kind of go the sort of TikTok route, you know, where you break everything up into little tiny short videos. And I don't know if it's just because like the kids today prefer to consume content like that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with preferring small bites versus long form content where you have to dedicate a lot of time. That's absolutely fine. But I think there's some disadvantages to it. And one of those disadvantages is that you can't really take enough time to fully explain or explore a certain subject when you're making videos that are 2-3 minutes max. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing about that. It seems like the younger you are, the more you're attracted to that sort of short form, quick, quippy, kind of like video memes is what they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like the video equivalent of posting a 4chan meme or something like that. And it seems like the kids are way more into that kind of thing than like anybody who's my age is. Which is fine. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's how shit evolves. And to be honest, they kind of said the same thing about my generation back in the 90s, you know, when the MTV generation, right? They said the same fucking thing. Oh, it's all quick cuts and they have short attention spans and blah, 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 you know, and it's that kind of thing, right? So I totally understand that part. But I think there's some disadvantages to it. And one of those disadvantages is that since you don't have enough time in this format to fully explore things, that also means that you don't really need to explain anything either. And I think that may be an advantage, but also a disadvantage. And when I say disadvantage, what I mean is that it is a disadvantage to someone who's looking for well thought out, well vetted content. What do I mean by that, right? Well, let's say you wanted to post an anti-Semitic meme. It's much easier to do so when your video is a minute long rather than 30 minutes long. Because you don't have to justify anything. You just show your anti-Semitic thing and then close it. And the person that is watching it digests your message and then is on to the next thing before they have a chance to really kind of identify or object to what you posted. That's what I mean by that. That's what I mean when I say it has certain, I wouldn't say, I guess disadvantages is not the right word. I guess the word I'm really looking for is something like downsides, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Something like that, right? Where it's not, I don't think, healthy for the political discourse overall. And it's a format that bigots and racists and the alt-right and Nazis and shit like that can easily take advantage of. It doesn't allow the time for critical thinking, right? And I could really easily see young people who basically are just like scanning through TikTok channels and stuff, coming across these types of videos, watching 6 or 7 of them and not really thinking much about it, and having that sort of subtly influence their opinions. I mean, the thing is, folks, we all don't like to admit this, but it's true that you are influenced by the things you watch in media. You are. Now, the older you get, the more time you spend actually critically thinking about your media. I guess it doesn't really matter how old you are, but really it's more of, I think this kind of comes with experience. And that's just my opinion. I know there's plenty of young people out there who are perfectly capable of looking at the media they consume rationally and making solid value judgments and not letting it unduly influence their opinions. I know that's completely possible, but in my experience, it seems to be something that comes with age and experience. That when you're a kid, you don't think about this kind of stuff. You're not aware of this kind of thing. You don't understand that there are people out there who are looking to manipulate you, especially at a younger age when you're still kind of finding yourself and finding what defines you and how you can separate your personality, your likes and wants, desires away from your parents. You're much more likely to be influenced by these types of propaganda and forces without your own knowledge. So this particular content creator, I notice, is using this format rather well. He's sort of using the reaction video format to give very short quips where you don't allow a lot of time to actually think about what the guy's saying, right? I suspect that, now I don't really know if this is true, I suspect that this dude is basically taking a bunch of his TikTok videos and then putting them into a full video and then putting that. This is on Odyssey, Odyssey is sort of like alt-right YouTube. That's where all the people who get kicked off of YouTube go to post their, like, hateful, bigoted bullshit. That's what I suspect what's going on here. That this is just sort of like a compilation video of TikTok videos. And it can be a little insidious. You know, we don't notice this kind of thing, especially if you're a little bit older and you're not exactly hip to what all the youngsters are doing nowadays, right? Like, TikTok, do I ever go on fucking TikTok? No. Right? Like, once, like, in a blue moon, I'll go there. Yeah, though, although I'm thinking of starting a TikTok channel just because that's how shit is going. If you want to stay relevant, then you gotta keep up, right? But still, it's like, it's not something that appeals to me. Like, I like longer form content. I like watching something that I can put on and while I'm doing artwork or something, or while I'm doing housework, or while I'm washing the dishes or whatever. Like, I like listening to long form shit that I can get into, that I can think about. But I know someone who's, 17, 18, 19, 20, who's basically just flipping through their phone, is not interested in that shit. They want something that they can consume quickly. So that's the difference. And I really think this is something that we as progressives, we need to start paying attention to this shit. We need to start paying attention to the content creators on these platforms and how they're using this format, this short form format, in order to spread hate and bigotry. So let's listen to a little bit of what this guy's got to say. This is only a 10-minute video, but what I'm going to do is speed it up a little bit. Let's go to speed 1.5. That way it won't take too long. Okay, let's look at the memes here.
Okay, relatable.
I know that I broke up with him. I get it. I really do. But he didn't even...
You see, just right there, that little thing right there, tattoo of my dad. And then, it's a joke, right? Whoever did that, now, that was a black person that did that. The joke is, of course, black fathers are, bad fathers and are never around. And it's funny that a black person can make fun of themselves and make fun of that stereotype for that. But when people like this post that shit, do you think that they're laughing with them? Are they laughing with the black person who's sort of making fun of that stereotype, or are they laughing at them? That's always something to keep in mind. There's a reason why this guy decided to post that meme. And it wasn't because he was making fun of the stereotype. It wasn't because he was trying to say, hey, look how silly this stereotype is. No. Continuing.
fight for me. Yeah, it's been 2 days. He didn't even call me.
So she ends things with him, probably hurts his feelings, and yet somehow she is the victim in this situation. Females are fascinating.
She breaks up with him, and now she's mad. What happened?
Oh, it's like if your wife or girl was bringing...
See that? All right, now that might have been a little too fast. Why don't we watch that again? Maybe I should put it at 1.25. And let's watch that little segment one more time, okay? Because I don't think we all kind of had the time to compute what we just saw. Let's watch it one more time, a little bit slower.
I get it. I really do. But he didn't even fight for me. Yeah, it's been 2 days. He didn't even call me.
So she ends things with him, probably hurts his feelings, and yet somehow she is the victim in this situation. Females are fascinating.
What? She breaks up with him, and now she's mad. What happened?
Oh, it's like if your wife or
That's it. That entire thing was the video, right? What's the message there? Of course. The message is, what? This girl is what? That's the thing, you don't have time, but what's the impression? See, that's the thing, you don't have time to think about what you just saw, right? Because it doesn't actually say anything. It's the impression that it gives. It gives the impression that this is a terrible girl right here. And then it leaves it open for the viewer to basically come to the conclusion that they lead you to. The conclusion being what? That it's because of feminism. Because if she was a traditional trad wife conservative woman, she wouldn't be playing games like this, etc. Blah blah blah. That's what, I just want to kind of point that out. See how fast that whole thing was? That was what, 5 seconds? That entire little thing, and it leaves the impression on you. And that's really why I think this sort of short form content like this, that's what makes it insidious. It makes it insidious because how do you argue against that? How do you argue against impressions? See, people don't stick around when you make a video that's really super long and gets into the weeds and all that. Like, there's a certain audience for that, for the sort of long form shit that I like. There's a certain audience for that. Some people really do like it, but your average person doesn't. They're not gonna. Most people will not dedicate an hour to a video. I know this because I put up videos that are an hour long, and I get comments saying, "This is an hour long. I'll pass." And it doesn't matter what the video is about. It could be about anything. It could be about whatever. Something that you might find to be super fucking interesting. And it's because people don't have the time and shit, and they don't want to waste their time or whatever. And it's perfectly fucking understandable. Perfectly understandable. But that's the problem. The problem is that it takes time to debunk shit. It takes time to explain why things are bad, right? Why it's bad, like what that, and you don't have that time in this format, this sort of short form, super duper, really quick TikTok format doesn't give you the time to even like compute what you just saw. Your brain doesn't have time to kind of understand that what I just saw was a video manipulated into making me hate feminism. You don't have time to get it. And that's what I think what makes it so fucking insidious. So let's watch a few more. Okay, this is more like sort of ridiculous incel rage bait bullshit.
oh, it's like if your wife or girl was bringing in like 250, 300K a year, would you be?
Okay.
For this one, if your wife is the breadwinner in the relationship, it switches the natural dynamic. Now she's
All right. I don't understand why that's such a big fucking problem, but okay, let's continue.
the provider and you're the one being provided for. So of course, generally when women are having to embrace that more masculine side of themselves, they're more likely to cheat because now it's more likely for her to see you as the feminine in the relationship, not being the masculine leader that you should be. What do you guys think? Could you be a stay-at-home husband? You know what's even
What's wrong with that? See how fast that whole thing was? So that whole thing was 20 seconds, right? Maximum 20 seconds. Starts with a funny video of a guy doing housework because his wife is the one making the money. And then this guy getting up and can you even remember what he said? He said it so fast without any time for you to compute. But what did he actually say? Right? He said that being the breadwinner is the natural, like, let's just watch it one more time, okay? Just so that we can kind of listen to what he's actually trying to impress upon us.
For this one, if your wife is the breadwinner in the relationship, it switches the natural dynamic. Now she's
Natural dynamic. Why is it natural for the man to be the breadwinner? Why does it matter? Why does it matter who makes the money? I mean, here's the thing. You only think it's natural if you think that marriage is something that's like ordained by God. That it's like some kind of biological imperative for the man to go out and work and for the woman to stay home and raise the kids, and women are like, biologically predisposed into like cooking dinner and mopping the floor and sweeping up and dusting and shit. Like, that's all they're fucking good for. That's the only reason why you would say that there's a natural dynamic, because there's no reason at all why a man can't stay home and cook. Gordon Ramsay is a cook. He makes millions of dollars cooking. Do you think he lets his wife cook the meals at home? When they're at home and it's dinner time, you think his wife cooks the fucking meals? Fuck no, he cooks. Right? Like, what's the problem with that? Is he upsetting the natural order because he, like, cooks dinner? Who the fuck would think, like, you have arms and legs. Why don't you clean? I mean, like, your wife is, like, the only one who gets to clean shit up? Like, you're not allowed to clean things? Like, ever? I mean, so what do you fucking do? If the house gets dirty, you just leave it because you're a man? You're biologically incapable of fucking, like, picking up, like, the trash and vacuuming the floor and, like, cleaning all the shit off of the table and putting away your fucking used pizza boxes and shit? Like, am I supposed to believe that? I mean, here's the thing. There are men out there that actually do believe this, yes. That will refuse to cook for themselves, will refuse to clean anything, will refuse to change the baby's diapers or mop the floor or just do anything whatsoever. They'll eat out every fucking night because they just refuse, because they're fucking giant babies is what they are. If you won't clean your own shit up, if you won't cook your own fucking meals, you're a child. That's what you are. You're a child. If you refuse to do it, if you refuse to do housework, you're a goddamn child. That's what these fucking people are. They don't, I mean, that's what that relationship dynamic is. If you want a wife because you want your wife to stay home and cook and clean and all this shit because you refuse to do it, then you don't really want a wife. You're looking for your mom. That's what it is. You want someone who is like your mother. That's what it is for these guys. Because these guys, when they grew up, their mother stayed home, cooked, cleaned, and did all that shit for them, did everything that they fucking wanted for them, cleaned all of their shit up, made them fucking, spaghetti and meatballs and fucking chicken tendies and shit. And that's what they think a wife should be. They should be just like my mom. They're fucking overgrown children. There's no natural fucking dynamic that dictates anything. Okay? Take a man and a woman and put them in a cave back in the fucking caveman days. I mean, you're telling me what? The woman is the only one that cooked everything, the man is the only one that hunted? Bullshit. Bullshit. They did whatever they had to do to fucking survive. These are just, like, cultural things that have developed through the course of thousands of years. There's no fucking reason why it has to be that way. There are cultures on this earth where women have multiple husbands, like in India and stuff. It's not very common. There are cultures on this earth where it's perfectly fucking fine for a man to be the one that raises the child. I mean, yes, it's not very common, but it's by no means universal. There's no, like, fucking ingrained biological fucking instinct that says it has to be the way that we've just developed in, like, the West. It's complete and total fucking horseshit. And then what is his other part? His other part is, oh, she's gonna cheat on you. If you stay home and clean shit, she's gonna cheat on you. Let's listen to what he has to say.
And you're the one being provided for. So, of course, generally, when women are having to embrace that more masculine side of themselves, they're more likely to cheat, because now it's more likely for her to see you as the feminine in the relationship.
Why? Listen to that shit. So it's more likely to see you as the feminine in the relationship. So that means it's okay for her to cheat on you. So first off, he's basically saying that it's okay to cheat on men, or it's okay for men to cheat on their wives, because they're the feminine side of the relationship. Did you get that part? Did you catch that part? Did that little subtle part come out there? He basically said it's okay for you to cheat on your wife because you're the man. And if you don't act like a man, she's going to cheat on you. And not acting like a man means staying home and, like, I guess, sweeping the floor when it gets dirty. Right. Allowing your wife to have a job. If your wife makes more money than you. What part of the biological imperative that's programmed into our brains says a woman is not allowed to make more money than her husband? Where does that even fucking come from? It comes from nowhere, because it's just bullshit that they made up. It's like most ridiculous, idiotic, red pill, incel, fucking rage bait horseshit I've ever heard in my entire life. But the way the guy says it in like 10 seconds without any time for it to compute. Now imagine your kid at home on TikTok flipping through 17 videos of these a fucking hour because they're so short. And then you wonder why people like fucking, Andrew Tate and shit are super popular with teenagers. Like, why, like, every fucking, like, teenage boy in this country knows who fucking Andrew Tate is. Why? Because this is the shit that they're getting through when they go to TikTok, when they go to fucking Twitter, when they go on Instagram, and they have all these, like, little tiny videos that are only 5 seconds long. It's because of this shit. Right? This is why it's important. This is why it's important to pay attention to what these assholes say and to, like, screen this kind of fucking content. Anyway, let's move on. We're only 57 seconds into it. I want to get at least halfway through the video.
Not being the masculine leader that you should be. What do you guys think? Could you be a stay-at-home husband?
You know what's even weirder? People give a fuck about their birthday. Shut your mouth. You know? Oh, it's my birthday. I guess I get it if it's girls. For some reason, it doesn't annoy me. When dudes get really excited about their birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not your mom.
Men should not care about their birthday. If you want to be celebrated, accomplish something that's worth being celebrated for. Everything about us is built and earned. You don't just get to exist and get that free validation like women.
Cleaning my room because a girl.
Wow. Okay. That's kind of fucking pathetic and sad. Imagine that. Imagine living your life where, like, no one appreciates you just because you're you. Now, what he's saying there, okay, men, you earn stuff, right? Yeah, you earn it, like, in your job. You earn things. But your birthday is usually not something that you associate with your job or your coworkers. Your birthday is something that it's supposed to be a celebration of you. That's what your birthday is. This is the day I was born. I managed to survive on this earth for another year. I'm going to celebrate and have a cake and have a little bit of happy thing because I'm a year older, and let's hope that this next year is just as good. That's what your birthday is for. When you become an adult, when you're a kid, your birthday is all about candles and birthday cake and like, presents and shit. You get a little bit older, and I understand not having a giant party. I don't really like birthday parties or anything, but you do something nice for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't had a birthday party in since I was a kid. I understand that part. But I do something nice for myself on my birthday. And I go out, me and my wife, maybe a few friends or something, and we'll go out to dinner and we'll have a movie or something like that. And, maybe somebody buys me a pair of socks or whatever. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But just imagine being so pathetically soulless that you don't celebrate your own or other people's birthdays because it's not a thing you earned. I mean, not everything in your fucking life with every, like, interaction with every person you have has to be about, like, a transactional relationship where you earn something. No. And that's really what I think makes this whole sort of, like, red pill incel shit so soulless. Like, it's this sort of, like, idiotic Jordan Peterson clean your room shit. Right? Where they're making, like, young men feel like they don't, like, if they don't have 17 girlfriends and a brand new fucking Lamborghini by the age of 21, that they're worthless. That's what they're trying to make it sound like. That's what they're making these kids feel. Like I said before many times, these guys think that being a man is like being a guy in a fucking rap music video. Like, they think that shit's real. They think, like, a rapper in a music video with, like, all these, like, female dancers around him, like, grinding on his booty and stuff. Like, they think that's, like, real stuff, and that's how these, like, guys really live. And they've got, like, 16 fucking bitches at any given time, like, hanging all over them, and just piles of money everywhere. And it's like, they don't understand that that's, like, a fantasy. Like, it's a music video. This is not real. Guys don't really live like that. There's not, P. Diddy or whatever isn't just waking up in the morning with, like, surrounded by 27 women in his mansion with just, like, piles of gold all over the place, taking a shit in his gold-plated fucking toilet. They think the fucking imagery is real. These guys think porn is real too. Like, they think, oh, every girl out there who goes to college or whatever is sucking 17 dicks at once and like all this other shit. And it's like, they think, where do they get these ideas from? Where do they get these ideas that, you know, all the women will cheat on you if you're not a super rough and tough giant alpha sigma male guy with fucking $1 million and like giant biceps or whatever? Like, where do they get these ideas from? They think porn is real. They think porn's real. They think music videos are real. They think guys like Andrew Tate are like real, and that it's not just all an act in order to get their money. It's sad and pathetic. I don't know, guys. You know what? Don't be ashamed to celebrate your birthday. You're allowed to have fun as a man. Okay? You're allowed to have fun. You're allowed to be into goofy things. You're allowed to like stuff, video games and movies, or I don't know, cars or guitars or army shit or whatever it is you're into, golf, whatever the fuck you like. You're allowed to like things, and you're allowed to have friends who appreciate you for who you are and not what you have. When that guy says what you've accomplished, like, what he really means is how much money you have. You're allowed to like people who are not rich and who haven't like accomplished very much as far as your definition of success goes. Moving on.
Girl's coming over. Guys, I've got a girl coming over, and my room's got to be spotless when she gets here. I don't want to gross her out. Here's the room before. This is the situation outlook. I think it's gotten pretty bad. But we're going to get this fixed up real quick. Those crunchy socks down there.
I've seen this before, by the way.
That's no good. If she finds that, then she'll definitely be running. Now, I did finish all...
I've seen this video before. You understand that this video is a joke, by the way. Moving on.
These Cokes, these Dr. Peppers, I told you guys I would.
Dude, what the yikes? Do y'all really need me to tell you to clean up your room? Apparently this guy does, okay? Your environment is an extension of your mind. A dirty room is a dirty mind. And on top of that, it does make you more appealing to women.
Okay, see, there's this more stupid Jordan Peterson bullshit. Dirty room is a dirty mind. I mean, does having a clean house make you appealing to women? Yeah. Especially if a girl comes over and she sees your place and it's all disgusting, she might be a little grossed out by you. But it's not like you need to have like an immaculately cleaned, like everything cleaned and dusted and polished and all that stuff and everything's gleaming. And if there's like one dust bunny underneath the desk or whatever, she's gonna like run out in disgust. Like, no, just make sure you're not like living like a fucking slob. But that doesn't, you know, but this is like I said, this is stupid Jordan Peterson shit. No, this because your house might be a little dirty or whatever, because you got some dirty laundry hanging out in your closet, something like that. That in no way means that you're a loser. You know, it just means you gotta pick up your laundry more often, right? I don't know. There is something to be said about living in a clean environment and not having a giant pile of dirty dishes every fucking night and that kind of thing, and being an organized person. But that in no way makes you a loser. I mean, just because you didn't have time to fucking, like, do the fucking dishes last night or whatever, or this morning or whenever you do them, just because you didn't have time to do them, like, that one time, doesn't make you a fucking loser, you know? I guess the advice is just don't live like a fucking disgusting slob. I see nothing wrong with that. But I do think that the whole sort of like, all you need to do is clean your room narrative, like, you know, pick up after your bootstraps and blah, 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 sort of like narrative that the fucking incel Jordan Peterson types gives. I still think that's total fucking bullshit. Moving on.
What's your body count?
12.
What's the real number? Maybe like what?
25.
25? That's not bad at all, is it?
No, of course not.
Of course not.
There's nothing more icky than watching a guy walk out of Starbucks.
I don't even really understand what that video was about. I think he was asking her about her body count, but you know what? I don't care. Moving on.
So, like, we sound like that. Like, we've just made everything ever an ick, and we sound so... like, damn, I just wanted a caramel frappuccino. Like, we're all out here probably missing out on, like, a great guy who's the love of our life because, like, sneezing is an ick.
Bruh.
I don't see what's wrong with, like, drinking something at Starbucks, but okay.
When Tana Mongoose is the voice of reason.
This is just how you know how far we've fallen.
I guess I agree with him on that one. So what were they trying to say? That The girl didn't like that a guy bought a Frappuccino. Okay. I guess I agree with that one. Continuing.
Yeah. What is it? It's Batman. I like it.
It's definitely not Batman.
Okay.
Degen society. Generally, I don't think people actually care about this stuff. Do what you want in the privacy of your own home. It's when you bring it out into public that I think most people have the problem with that, and it being widely promoted throughout all of the media.
Okay. More ridiculous anti-LGBTQ bigotry right there. Did you catch that one? See how fast that was? He said degen society, degenerate society. It was only on screen for half a second, maybe a third of a second, really, really quick. And then the attitude that he just gave there, do what you want in the privacy of your own home. It's only when you bring it in public. Well, first thing, right? Here's the thing about that, folks. You should be able to express yourself in public as much as is legally possible, in my opinion. What do I mean by that? You're not allowed to walk around naked. There's absolutely nothing wrong with enforcing those types of decency laws, right? You can't walk around with your boobs hanging out or your fucking balls hanging out or whatever. But what did those guys have? Those guys were just wearing sort of fetish mask kind of things. I think that was sort of like a dom kind of, thing there, right? One guy was leading another one, and they were both wearing these sort of wolf masks. I don't really know. That's not really my scene. But what was obscene about that at all? They didn't have their dicks hanging out. Their nuts were not hanging out. They weren't showing their nipples or anything like that. There was nothing inherently sexy about that at all. If you didn't know what that was, you might have think it was just some kind of cosplay. Like the girl said, oh, is that Batman? She had no idea what it was. Why is that wrong? What's wrong with that? Why would that be something that has to be confined to your bedroom? There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Is it obscene? No. It's not obscene. It's just two people doing their thing, minding their fucking business. You notice they weren't talking to that girl. They didn't say anything to that girl. They were just walking by. That's the definition of minding your own fucking business. So why is this guy calling them a degenerate? Why are they saying they're degenerates? Why is he saying, oh, you have to keep it in the privacy of your own home, whatever like that? Because it has nothing to do with actual sex. Anytime you get these sort of criticisms against the anti-LGBTQ stuff, anytime you see that, remember, they don't actually give a shit about protecting the children or anything like that, right? They don't actually care if something is too risque for the kids. It's an excuse. That's all an excuse. What they really care about is the fact that these people exist at all. And like he just said, they're perfectly fine with it if they force it back into the closet. That's what they want. They want to take all expressions of LGBTQ existence and force them back into the closet like it was during the 60s and 70s and 80s. They want to make it so that these people, there's no evidence that they exist whatsoever, that they're not allowed to express themselves in any way whatsoever. And just the simple fact of doing so is enough for them to call them a degenerate. Just the fact that they exist is enough. Here's the thing. How was that inappropriate? Those were just two dudes walking down the street. Were they in a daycare center? Were they at a drag queen story hour where there were kids around? Right? Were they at Disneyland or something with a bunch of kids? No. They're just minding their business, doing their thing, walking down the street, not engaging with anybody. How the fuck is that? How the fuck are they degenerates? How are they forcing anybody to do or say or think anything? They're not. He's the one that came to that conclusion. And how fast was it? And that's just 20 seconds. 20 seconds of a... Not even 20 seconds. It was more like fucking 8 seconds. Where the viewer at home, the 15-year-old kid at home watching this shit on TikTok, doesn't have time to compute about what he just saw and what's going to subtly influence him. Like what he just saw, what the message that's being fucking like drilled into his head. Moving on.
Or Instagram. So would you get rid of your Instagram or social media for a marriageable man?
No. No, same thing. Absolutely not.
Whether it's my career or not, I've done that before, and he was a narcissistic. I had to divorce him, so I would definitely say no.
Good times.
Yeah.
Social media has become the new female hive mind. They no longer care about what their friends think, they care about what Instagram thinks. This is why women that have a social media addiction is a red flag, because they'll just accept whatever the new narrative is on Instagram, TikTok, or whatever. Oh, I'm not an empowered boss babe if I don't have male friends? Oh, okay. They listen to the internet before they listen to you.
I don't care.
All right. Okay. That one, wow, that one is fucked up. So what was the question? The question was, would you get rid of your social media in order to marry a quote-unquote marriageable man, whatever the fuck that means, right? Every single woman in there, in that little focus group, said no. And you know something? They're right. If you meet someone who tells you to get rid of your social media or you can't be with me, then that's not someone you should be with. And then they talked to a girl and she said, yeah, I quit my career for a man. And then it turned out to not work out. She made the right decision by saying no to that. You should never, if you meet someone and they give you conditions to be with me, then you shouldn't be with that person. This is just some solid advice for you young dudes out there. If you meet a girl, this can go both ways. It's not just like a man for a woman. It's like, it could go the other way too. If you meet a girl and she says, okay, I love you, but you have to give up this hobby, or you have to quit this job, or you're not allowed to talk to these people, all right, or you have to get rid of your social media, or you have to stop playing video games, whatever, then you know what? That's not the girl for you. You know why? Because a woman should like you for you and not what you do, not what you have to offer her. Okay? If she doesn't like you for who you are, then that's not the woman for you. And that includes the things that you're into. That includes the activities you do. Right? Now, there's certain things, like if she says, hey, if you don't quit smoking crack, I'm leaving you, that's one thing. That's something that's detrimental and illegal and all that shit. Right? But if she says, hey, if you don't stop playing video games, I'm leaving you, then fucking, honey, let me help you with that suitcase. Because I'm not going to stop some shit that I like doing for someone else for a relationship that might not even work out in the long run. I mean, what else? Here's the thing, right? What else is she going to tell you to stop? Does she give a fuck about you at that point? You know, what else is she going to say? Oh, you have to stop doing this. You have to stop wearing these clothes. Got to stop talking to these people. Got to stop watching this TV show. You got to stop fucking doing this and that. And then at what point is it about you? Like, what does she care about you for? Why doesn't she just go find some other guy who meets her criteria? Because obviously you don't. And it's the same thing for women. You know, if a dude says to you, if you're a woman, and a guy says, hey, I want to marry you, but you're not allowed to have a job. You have to stay home and cook and clean and raise kids, and you don't want to do that, then you should not marry that guy. That's not the guy for you. You should tell the guy to go fuck himself. Find somebody who meets his criteria, because obviously you don't. How does this guy spin that? I don't want to misquote him. Let's listen to what he said in response to that. Let's get his exact words.
Yeah.
Social media has become the new female hive mind. They no longer care about what their friends think, they care about what Instagram thinks. This is why women that have a social media addiction is a red flag, because
they no longer care what their friends think, they care what Instagram thinks. Why should you give a fuck what your friends think? That's the first wrong thing. That's the first thing that's wrong here. There's a certain point where you need to be independent. And even your friends, if they don't like something too fucking bad, then don't be my friend. Because this guy looks like he's pretty young. I'd say this dude is maybe 23 at the most. I don't know. He's kind of balding a little bit. Maybe he might be 28, something like that. He's definitely got the hairline going. Not like I should talk. I'm going bald too. But still, at a certain, maybe this is something that he just hasn't experienced yet in his personal life. But your life is your life. And yeah, while you may respect the opinions of your friends and even your family, they don't get to tell you how you live your life. Because it's your life. So if you like doing something and your friends don't, then too bad, do it anyway. And if your friends say, I'm not hanging out with you if you keep doing this, then bye-bye to your friends. That's how it fucking works. Let's imagine that your friend doesn't like your religion. Let's say you convert to Christianity, right? Let's say you're going to be a Christian, and your friend comes to you and says, hey, I don't like the fact that you're a Christian. What do? Do you say to your friend, okay, I'll stop believing? Or do you tell your friend to go fuck himself? It's the same kind of thing. What if your friend says, hey, I don't like that you drive this car. Hey, I don't like that you vote for this person. Hey, I don't like this. I don't like that. Well, guess what, motherfucker? You don't like me. That's the same fucking thing. It's like the same thing with a relationship. Your significant other doesn't like that you do all of this stuff, then your significant other must not like you very much. So that's the first thing that this guy is not understanding. They don't listen to their friends anymore. They listen to Instagram. You take your friends' advice if you respect them. You take their thoughts and feelings into account, whatever. If there's behavior that they don't like that you engage in, then you, out of respect for them, should probably not engage in that while they're around. Some shit like that, that's absolutely fucking fine. But at the same time, if it's a deal breaker, then fucking sorry, I'll call you. So let's move on here.
Just accept whatever the new narrative is on Instagram, TikTok, or whatever. Oh, I'm not an empowered boss babe if I don't have male friends? Oh, okay. They listen to the internet before they listen to you.
I don't care.
They listen to the internet before they listen to you. I.e., he wants women to be subservient to their male partners. Like a trad wife kind of thing. That's what this shit is. It's trad wife bullshit. There is no reason whatsoever that one partner in a relationship should be subservient to another partner. No. You say, because that's not healthy. There's a reason why you call them partners, because you're a partner. You're supposed to be equal in a relationship. That's what a partnership is. You learn this really quick when you get married, folks, by the way. Any of you out there who have ever been married, there's no, your marriage will not last if it's a one-way thing where one person gets to make all the decisions, one person says everything, and that's how it goes. One person decides everything, one person has all the power, controls all the finances. No, your marriage will not last very long at all under that kind of thing. You learn very quickly in a marriage that it's a partnership. That you have to take the other partner into account. That you have to make decisions together. Let's just say that you're, in a relationship and your significant other, whether it's your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever, they just decide everything. You come home, they decide where you're going to eat that night, or if you're going to stay in, or if you're going to go out, or if you're going to do anything. They decide. You don't get a choice. So, you're eating at McDonald's for the 17th fucking time this month. Too bad. Don't have a choice. They made a decision. You got to stick with it, right? They decide where you're going to live. They decide what clothes you're going to wear. They buy your clothes for you. Too bad you're buying this. I don't like that. You're wearing that. They decide if you're allowed to talk to your friends or not. They decide who you vote for. They decide where you shop. They decide how much you're allowed to spend, if you're even allowed to have a job or not. They're the ones making those decisions. Like, why would anybody want to live like that? That's not a relationship between equals. That is like a parent-child relationship. That's how you treat your children. You make all of the decisions for your children because they're not old enough to make them themselves. They don't have agency. Well, guess what, man? You're an adult. You make your own fucking decisions. You have your own fucking agency. You get held responsible for for the decisions you make, not decisions anybody else makes. Why would anybody purposely want to give all that up? And here's the thing. I know there are people that do. There's the whole trad wife shit where that's exactly what they want. They want the man to make all the goddamn decisions or whatever. They want to have no agency at all in their own fucking lives. And you know what? More power to them. If that's what you want, if that's what you're into, if you're just into like the man making all the fucking decisions about everything, who am I to tell you otherwise? But I don't think this shit's healthy. And I think that if you're a man looking for that kind of thing, then you really need to do some soul searching. And I really think that young people are susceptible to this kind of thinking because they don't have any experience, because that's what they think it is. They watch fucking movies and shit from like the fucking 80s and the whatever. They listen to fucking morons like Andrew Tate saying like, all of this stupid bullshit, trad wife idiotic bullshit, and they think that's how a healthy relationship is. And they go, see, my grandparents live like this and they've been married for fucking 95 years or whatever. And in real life, they don't know how miserable their fucking grandparents were. Right? They don't know how miserable people were actually living like this. It's like, it's rage-inducing bullshit. Let's watch one more of these and then let's call it a day because it's getting a little late and I need to go shopping. I have to go get groceries. One more of these and then let's continue.
Yeah, how mad we is. Put your leg on my leg so we can go to sleep.
100% every man wants this, because if you can show affection towards him even when you're feeling a negative emotion, that means you are choosing love, which is real love and lasting love, kind that won't just be thrown away when things get tough.
Don't you make egg
White.
I guess what the point with that one was. What was the point of that? Show your man affection even when you don't want to? I mean, okay. But do you guys out there, do you actually need to be coddled like that 24/7? I mean, no. It's nice when your female partner, I guess, in this case, shows you affection. It's nice, but if I don't get it, like, I don't need it, like, constantly. I don't know. Maybe some guys do. I read these things about men who are so touch-starved for affection that if a girl on the street gives them a compliment, they, like, it's like the best day of their lives. You know, like, you read about this kind of, especially if you kind of infiltrate these sorts of spaces online where these incel fucking people go, red pill assholes go. Once in a while, you'll get that story. You'll say something like, oh, a woman said I was, like, handsome and I was floating on air. And is it really like that? Like, is it really like these men who have just never gotten a compliment ever in their entire lives? Like, where all it takes is just one sort of, like, little bit of positive attention from a woman and then they just fucking go crazy? Like, damn. That's sad. No, a girl has never given you a compliment in your entire fucking life ever? I mean, I'm not the most, like, attractive person. That's not all it takes for me to fall in love with somebody, is for a girl to say I'm good looking. Like, I don't know. Maybe some guys are. Maybe some guys are so touch starved for attention. You know, like they're like a dog who's been in a kettle for too many years and they haven't had enough, like, attention. And so when they get it, they sort of, like, flip out. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I don't understand that shit myself. One more. This has to do with white cis heterosexual men. Okay, let's listen to what this one has to say.
Don't you make egg
white cis het men. They're privileged. They don't get the struggle. You know, like, I'm queer. I'm a woman, sort of. They don't get it.
White cis het men have the privilege of being white, being cis, being heterosexual. The patriarchy works for them.
Yeah.
Just keep going, bro. All right, zoom in on this dude right here, the yellow shirt, okay? Just keep going, bro. Women will find you attractive eventually. If you just suck up to them for long enough, I'm sure they'll get with you. Just wait until she hits 40. She has 2 baby daddies, bro. You'll have your chance.
Wow.
Just finish.
All right. That exemplifies, I think, right there. That video right there, I think, is the incel attitude in a nutshell. Because what the dude in the yellow sweater said is true. Society is set up for white cis heterosexual men. It is. That's how our society is set up, because those are the people who are in charge. And up until very recently, they were the only people who mattered. They were. Everything was built towards them because they were the people who built, everything in order to cater to themselves. Because they were the people with the money, they were the people with the power, so obviously they're going to anchor society in such a way that it caters exactly to their wants and desires. And that's what the culture war actually is that, well, now other people besides white cis heterosexual men also want society to cater to their wants and desires, and the white cis heterosexual men are losing their fucking minds over it. That's what the culture war is. And it really tells me that his reaction to that was that it was completely something that was self-serving. That's what he said. Okay, she'll want you. All you have to do is keep simping, and then she'll want you once she turns 40 and blah, 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 blah. Like the guy here, our commentator, just completely doesn't, like, understand at all that somebody could have that opinion without a self-serving motive. And I've seen this sort of opinion a lot online when it comes to these sort of like red pill assholes. They think that it's like, oh yeah, the whole thing is just guys simping to get pussy. That's what they think. They think that anybody out there who has a liberal or progressive view when it comes to any of this stuff, when it comes to sex and gender and LGBTQ rights and all that, that the only reason they're doing it is because they're trying to get laid. They don't really believe that anybody out there could actually have these attitudes because they think it's the right thing. They think they're doing it so that left-leaning blue-haired lesbians will want to have sex with them. That's what it is. That's what they think. And I think that attitude, that attitude that it's all transactional, really exemplifies the incel movement more than anything. They're projecting onto us, because, you know, I consider myself part of the progressive sort of pro-LGBTQ movement. I am a cis heterosexual male, but I am someone who supports gay and LGBTQ rights. That's the thing, is that they don't think that any self-serving man would believe such things without an ulterior motive. And really, it's because they themselves are incredibly selfish, because they don't believe in anything without an ulterior motive, because they are projecting their values onto us. And that's really it. It's, you know what that is? It reminds me of when people say shit like, hey, everyone's racist. You ever get that? You ever encounter that? You ever get guys who say shit like, well, we're all racist, but I'm just the one who's saying it out loud. No, everybody thinks like me. It's like, no, motherfucker, everybody doesn't think like you. This is just you justifying your own bullshit in order to keep yourself from feeling like you're an asshole. And so it's so that they can look at themselves in the mirror and say, I'm right, I'm justified in my racist, bigoted, misogynist attitudes here. It's complete and total fucking bullshit. You know, no, not everyone is like you. You're the one with the aberrant opinion. I think that's enough for today. But, you know, it's good, I think, once in a while. Let's turn this bullshit off. Maybe we'll come back to it, because we only really got through half of the video, but I'm getting tired, my back hurts, I got shit to do, and plus I gotta take a giant leak, so we're ending it right now. And, you know, but I think, in conclusion, it is good to pay attention to this stuff. It's good to keep an eye on what these guys have to say, and how the message gets spread, especially when it's in a format that's a little more insidious like this. You know, this short, like I said at the beginning, this short form format, I think is something that, you know, we ignore at our peril, and maybe we should start taking advantage of it as content creators. People on, because I notice I post this stuff when I make these videos. I post them on like BreadTube, and I post them on like, you know, there's one called Political Revolution, and there's a couple other places. And I don't see a lot of left-leaning progressive voices using these content, these platforms, using things like TikTok and Twitter and stuff. I don't see a lot of they seem to be dominated by the right wing, and it's like, no, we should be using these types of platforms too. We should be using these short form video quips in order to spread our messaging too. Because there, you know, the fact that somebody like Andrew Tate, like his entire audience is made up of teenage boys, that's very disturbing, and it doesn't say good things about the future. And this is a front in the culture war. And I hate to say it, but that's what the culture war is, changing hearts and minds. And we should use every weapon in our arsenal in order to change hearts and minds for the better. Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.